Hey, y'all, and welcome back to another episode of the Healing Version podcast. I am your host, Deborah, and thank you so much for coming back and continuing on this journey of family dysfunction with me. I really appreciate it, y'all. So, this is the third episode in this dysfunctional family series. I got so much I want to discuss today, y'all. Today we're going to be talking about generational trauma. Generational trauma, when you think of it, it is the pain that didn't start with us, but somehow made its way back into our lives, whether it's through our choices, our relationships, and even the way we parent our own children. If you've ever felt like you're carrying burdens that aren't yours, if you ever questioned the way things always were in your family, this episode's for you. So grab a journal, take a deep breath, and let's get into some truth telling, some soul work, and some healing. Trigger warning. The content in this episode may include discussions around trauma, family dysfunction, emotional pain, mental health, and other sensitive topics that could be triggering for some listeners. Please take care of yourself as you listen. Pause if you need to. Come back when you're ready. Your healing journey matters, and your safety is sacred here. Generational trauma is trauma that is passed down from one generation to the next. It can show in big, obvious ways like abuse, addiction, or neglect. But sometimes it's quiet. It's emotional distance, silence, fear of expressing feelings, or the belief that we don't talk about that. This trauma is often inherited through behaviors, unspoken rules, and survival mindsets. It's the emotional patterns that no one talks about, but everybody feels. So I want to share like a little short story. I once heard a father tell his son, "Don't cry. Men don't cry. Be strong." The little boy wasn't even 5 years old. But in that one sentence, he learned that emotions weren't safe, that strength meant silence. And that's how it begins, generation to generation. It's so many emotionally unavailable adults. I wanted to say men, but adults. It's not just men. That's why I'm single. That's why I'm single, but we didn't come here to talk about my love life. So before I dive into some of the ways that generational trauma shows up, I want to read a poem. This poem speaks to one of the most profound generational wounds in my family, one that continues to echo through our lives to this day. This piece is personal. It's the truth. And it's a starting point for this conversation on healing. So I call this poem The Spirit of Fear. The spirit of fear is loud in my family. It whispers in elevators and shouts on highways. It creeps into parking garages, doctor's offices, relationships, and even dreams. It paralyzes movement, silences growth, and disguises itself as just being careful. But underneath all that cautious is unhealed trauma. Underneath the fear is a generation that was never taught how to be safe or how to feel safe. I come from a line of people afraid to live, afraid to heal, afraid to be seen. Not because they're weak, but because fear was all they were ever handed. It was inherited like a family heirloom, passed down with the good dishes and the warnings. Don't go too far. Don't trust too easily. Don't speak up. Don't be too different. But the truth here is the spirit of fear is a liar. and I refuse to let it be the loudest voice in my story. I feel the fear and still choose healing. I would challenge the silence and still speak the truth. I would trust that safety and joy are possible, even when it's unfamiliar, because this fear ends with me. My healing won't always make sense to those still surviving, and that's okay. I'm not here to be understood by everyone. I'm here to be free. Okay, so let's name some ways generational trauma shows up. So, the very first, I got a list, y'all. I had a long list of generational traumas. So, bear with me. When I said go get your journal, get your blanket, and chill out, I really meant that. Because we got a lot to go over. But the first thing that I want to touch base on when it comes to generational trauma is abuse, whether that be physical, emotional, sexual, verbal. This abuse is passed down through harsh discipline, silence, or denial of past abuse. The amount of people that have told me about being sexually assaulted by a family member is disturbing. I won't go into details on this episode. You're going to have to come back on my molestation episode to hear more about that. But yeah, crazy. All right, so the next topic is neglect or emotional unavailability. This happened with parents who were neglected. They may struggle to express affection or validate their children's emotions. I say this all the time. You really can't give something that you've never gotten. However, I do feel that at some point in your life, you have to decide, you know what, this does not work. This does not make sense. This is not normal. We need to fix this. So yeah, we got to take responsibility. We can't forever be like, well, my childhood was destroyed and it was messed up and all of these things. And I'm not invalidating anything that happened as a child. It's just at some point we got to crawl out of that and we got to heal from it if we really want true abundance. Okay. The next thing is addiction, alcohol, drugs, gambling, whatever that look like, whatever you addicted to, sex, whatever. And addiction, a cycle where substance abuse becomes a coping mechanism for pain that hasn't been healed. Generational alcoholism, just passed down. Generational drug use, generational gambling. It's a cycle. This generation do it, the next is bound to do it. I see it with my own two eyes. Yeah. So the next thing is mental illness conditions. So these can be conditions such as depression, anxiety, or bipolar disorder. They often go undiagnosed. This often leaves the younger generations emotionally confused or unprepared. Next generational trauma that I like to speak about is abandonment or parent absence. This leads to attachment issues, mistrust, and a deep fear of being left or unloved. I relate to this so much, especially the abandonment issues, not having that father figure. Oh my goodness. I know a lot of people won't admit to it, but like y'all, I want peace and healing and wholesomeness so much that I've decided to be honest with myself. I have abandonment issues. Like I'm working on it though. Like I've been doing good. I'm gonna tell y'all all about it in my dating series. I keep talking about this dating series. It's coming. Trust me, it's coming because it's going to be surrounded about abandonment issues. So if you have abandonment issues and you're dealing with that and you need like some insight, you can hit me on the back end. But I'm gonna go so deep in this dating series about that because yeah, get into it. So the next thing that I like to talk about is incarceration. And not everybody deals with this, but the families that do deal with a relative being incarcerated, this really affects the family's identity. It disrupts stability because, They get the man out the household, which is usually who's locked up. And now you have a one parent household with one income versus if you had two incomes, it'll be easier on all parties involved. But this can also create generational shame or secrecy. And that's just basically being shameful that you got a parent in jail. And then also not wanting people to know. So just keeping it a secret, period. All right. So the next generational trauma that I like to speak on is domestic violence. Children raised in these homes may struggle with safety, intimacy, and the ability to recognize healthy love. Whew. Let me read that again. Children raised in these homes may struggle with safety, intimacy, and the ability to recognize healthy love. That is so deep. That's deep. Whew. I had a. The next one that I want to talk about is religious or cultural oppression. So, religious practices or cultural oppression, however you look at it, however you your faith path takes you. So, this can be strict or shame-based systems and may suppress emotional expression, sexuality, or individuality in the name of tradition. So I know a lot of people that are part of the LGBTQ community are affected by this because a lot of times, more times than not, in the church, you're not allowed to be homosexual, and that means you're going to hell. So a lot of people within the LGBT community, they deal with this, not being able to be themselves in a place of faith where everybody's supposed to be loved. But we're not going to get into that on this episode. But yes, when a lot of pastors coming out with boyfriends. But anyway, so the next thing that we're going to talk about is secrets and shame. I should have had this on lack of accountability in the communication episode because this secrets and shame, it really ties into the child molestation, but it's a lot of secrets and shame that ain't even around the molestation talk. It can be a lot of different things, but that wanting to keep secrets and this stays in this house and we don't, not knowing that a family is a unit. So the way a family is supposed to work is you have like this family compound. You got the men, you got the women, you got these two parent households or a one parent household. It don't matter because you got your family right next door, so you good. So you got this family compound. Y'all stay in this cul-de-sac. Y'all garden over here. Y'all got farm animals over here. Over here, you making whatever type of clothes. It's supposed to be a unit. And then you have the men, they can do work on any of the houses, remodel them, do the plumbing, electricity, and everybody is eating out this one pot, right? And if somebody needs something, everybody, the whole family comes together as a unit and we help that person. We don't get on the phone and gossip about them, but come back because I'm going to have an episode on this. Okay. The whole, we're going to talk about it. But with secrets and shame, what happens in this house stays in this house mindset. Where silence replaces healing. These wounds can be silent, but they are still powerful. And those things that are not healed, they're going to get handed down to the next generation. So the next thing I like to touch on is poverty and financial insecurity. Chronic fear around money, survival mode. We don't talk about money, or constantly overworking with no rest. That is a generational trauma that's passed down. I'm going to have an episode on financial literacy. Come back for that. Talking about setting our kids up for generations to come so that they don't have to work as hard as we are working. Because I don't know about y'all, I work hard. And I am declaring and I'm decreeing that this is my last year working as hard as I work. If you know me personally and we talk on a regular, you know your girl be working. And I'm not, I'm blaming it on the economy. I don't care but I know that I have the power to turn all of this around and the economy won't even be affecting my money because it's going to be that long. It's coming. Praise God. All right. So when it comes to financially equipping, I'm so big on that with my kids, like building credit. You don't even got to use the credit for real, for real. I'm like, just buy you some DoorDash, do something real quick, you know what I'm saying, to get a little balance on earning and pay it off and do that every month. And just do that. Because, I mean, whether you like it or not, credit is important in this country.
This video is sponsored by BetterHelp, your online therapy solution. Visit betterhelp.com/the healing version to answer a few questions and get matched with a professional who has years of experience helping people with struggles just like yours. You can access BetterHelp from your phone or computer through messaging, phone calls, or video chat, whichever suits you best. It's the simplest way to start your therapy journey. Let BetterHelp connect you to a therapist who can support you, all from the comfort of your home. Visit betterhelp.com/the healing version or choose the healing version during the sign up and enjoy a special discount on your first month.
All right, so the next thing that I like to talk about is sexism or gender-based oppression. This is when women are silenced, overworked, or taught to shrink themselves. Men are taught to suppress emotions and avoid vulnerability. The amount of emotionally unavailable adults in this world is sickening. It's absolutely crazy. It is enough to stay out of the dating pool. I'll say that, because somebody who's emotionally unavailable is just, they're usually not very nice people. All right. So the next thing that I want to discuss when it comes to generational trauma is fear-based living. Fear of success, failure, freedom, change, or anything unfamiliar. Often taught as protection, but rooted in unhealed wounds. How many people have a parent or an older person in your family and they're always like, no, you shouldn't do that. And, oh, you shouldn't do that. And then it usually is like followed by something that happened to them or somebody they knew in their generation that it didn't work out for. And so now automatically they want to put that fear and that thing into you. Tell them to shut up. Like, don't allow anybody, I don't care who they are, your mama, your daddy, sister, but I don't care. Don't let anybody instill their fear into you, because family will do it. They will do it. It'll be strangers rooting for you on the sideline. People that you never even met before. Some of the most supportive people in my life right now are people that I've never met in real life. Let me say that again. Some of the most supportive people in my life right now. What's today? April 23rd. That's when I'm recording this. I'm behind ball, but don't worry about that. April 23rd, 2025. I'm saying this. Like, I've met people off the internet that are way more supportive. Like, when it comes to my podcast, it's family. It was like, oh, don't do that. You gonna start a podcast. Oh, ain't nobody gonna listen to it. Like, just, ugh. Anyway, next thing. Silencing or lack of communication. We talked about lack of communication. Poor communication, actually, not even lack, poor. And I think those are two different things. Let's get into it. That's when people say, we don't talk about that. It's instilled in secrets, denial, unspoken pain that keeps the cycle going. Not communicating, not saying nothing, not speaking out. And especially speaking out against things that are happening to children, and you're an adult and you know it, shame on you. If you know that a child is being harmed and as an adult you're just not saying anything, I want to slap you with a sock full of pennies, because why are you allowing that to happen? What type of fear do you have in you? Go heal and then help that baby, okay? Because kids are kids are very vulnerable. So if somebody's hurting them and they're saying, hey, don't say anything, you be quiet or I'm going to hurt your mama. You be quiet, I'm going to hurt your sister. So they'll tell kids that, and rightfully so, the child's not going to say anything. But you as an adult know that you better speak up. Okay? Make me come find you. The next thing is being perfect or performance pressure. This is a value tied to productivity, obedience, or appearance. It originates from past shame or generational expectations. Somebody expecting stuff out of you, like especially like with the appearance thing. Family has a bad when they see you and they'll say stuff like, dang, you gained weight, or dang, you got skinny, or you every so often you probably got, a couple of family members that ain't no haters of like, girl, you look good. Okay, get it, boo. We're gonna talk about jealousy too during this whole family dysfunction. I'm really laying the foundation with this thing, and something that I wanted to go back on while I'm here and I'm off subject. Last episode I recorded all the way through, and I was so proud. I loved everything I said. And then I went back to listen to do some editing, and the first part, like 5-6 minutes, was lost. I could not get it back. I could not find it. I could have cried. And I was sad because I said a lot of things that I wanted to say. And one of those things, I said it how I needed to say it. It got cut out, and I talked about it again in the audio. To me, it made sense because I knew what I was talking about. But I was like, they probably like, what is she talking about? So I want to go back on that. It was specifically when I was talking about the Legos under the rug. So when you think about the foundation of family, you have a rug. Think about every problem, every trauma, every lack of communication, every backbiting, every cheating on your spouse, every whatever issue thing that you have going on. Instead of dealing with it and looking at it in the mirror and handling it, we push it under the rug. And you have so many problems under that rug. If you were to try to stand on it, you wouldn't be able to stand straight up because it's not a good foundation. So when you're thinking about family and how to get rid of dysfunction, what do you have to do? You have to get rid of those issues that's under that rug. And then that rug is flat and it's clean and you can stand on it. You can stand on it. Your mama can stand on it. Your sister. Everybody can stand on that rug and stand firm and strong because they don't have those issues under the foundation. Okay, somebody. Come on. Somebody better get, tithes and offering for that. But no, I'm kidding. But for real, think of it like that. I don't know. That came to me and I'm just like, that makes so much sense. It made sense to me. Hopefully it made sense to you. All right. So, the next thing that I want to speak on is shame and guilt cycles. Feeling not good enough, and this is passed down through judgment or comparison. Guilt tripping as a method of control or manipulation. Ooh, baby. I'm going to read that one again. So this is shame and guilt cycles. It's the feeling like you're not good enough. It's passed down through judgment or competition competition. That ain't even what it says. It says judgment or comparison. Guilt tripping as a method of control or manipulation. So that first part where it talks about judgment or comparison, that's something that I have to like check people on when it comes to the twins, because when you're twins, everybody automatically want to like put y'all together and compare y'all and, oh, you this and your brother can do this better and the brother do this and that. And they are two completely different individuals. And I know if there's any other twin parents out there, you completely get what I'm saying. And if you're new twin mom or dad, people do that and it's very annoying. I used to hate taking the twins to the grocery store when they were babies because people would be like, and it was right around COVID, and people would come around and they'll be like, oh, can I see them? Are they twins? Oh, do they look alike? And I had to get them the little things that go on a car seat to say like, I'm not friendly, back up, get away from me, your breast stink, whatever the thing said, basically telling the people, you're not welcome to look at my babies. And y'all, I'm sweet as pie. But when you start getting into like my personal boundaries and like getting close to me in stores and stuff, like back up. See, I went off into something else, but definitely the comparison, and that not only with twins, but with siblings, and especially with siblings. I think parents don't see that they be like putting kids or their children up against each other when they do like the comparison and, oh, so and so did this or that. They're two completely individuals. You may have one child that go to college and just be great and become whatever profession that they heart desire, and then you may have another child who went to college and they flunked out, and now they work a 9 to 5 job and they're content with that. If they're happy, leave them the hell alone. Like, college isn't for everybody. Just because one child went doesn't mean that everybody that come down the bloodline gotta go. It's nice if they do. I trust me. I'm earning a degree right now, so I have nothing against college education. I just feel like we shouldn't push that on our kids, especially if they don't want to go. I tell my kids, when y'all get out of school, you can go back to school if you want to, but if you want to like pursue the workforce or start your own business, do whatever you have a passion for and whatever's going to make you happy. Because when you start doing stuff that other people want you to do, or doing stuff just for money, we got to stop doing stuff just for money. You be miserable as hell in a job 25 years, making $14 an hour, and miserable, not happy, but stuck for the fear of moving and doing something better with yourself. We got to stop doing that to ourselves. All right, so the next thing that I want to talk about is control and hyper independence. Micromanaging everything to make yourself feel safe. This is learned from chaotic or unpredictable environments. Ooh, how many of you have been in an environment that was chaotic or unpredictable? You didn't know what was going to happen next. You ain't know when they was going to break out fighting. Like that whole the unpredictable environments, I feel like I relate to a lot more because we were moved around a lot as kids. So I got used to instability, but I hated it so much. So like now, like when stuff don't seem stable, like I don't want nothing to do with it. I'm trying not to run anymore and kind of like figure out why it's not unstable. But if it don't serve me a purpose, I'm leaving. Call it running if you want to. I call it protecting my peace. All right. So the last generational trauma that I want to speak on today is the generational silence around grief and loss. This can be miscarriages, this can be death, breakups, abuse. It's never processed or spoken about. It's trauma buried instead of healed, leaving wounds unresolved. When we lose somebody, whether it's a death or a breakup, it's so important to like walk through that pain and at your time too. I'm not saying immediately you should be like, all right, let's get this over with. No, go through however grief looks for you, go through it. But if it's so much so that like you're not doing anything, you're not eating, you're not being productive, that's when you have to start thinking deeper about like healing and therapy and what else can you do, because that's not healthy to you and whoever you lost. I'm sure, especially to death, they don't want you sitting around not eating and not taking care of yourself. So do it for them. If that makes you feel like you can do it because you're doing it for them, do it for them. Yeah, just I'll say it time and time again. It's not about those times when we're not okay, because it's definitely okay to not be okay, but it's about what we do in those moments when we're not okay. How are we treating ourselves? Are we giving ourselves grace, or are we beating ourselves up and saying, "Oh, I'm stupid. I shouldn't have did that," and "Oh, I can't believe I did that." Whatever you did it. It's over with now. Can't go back and change it. Just have grace. Have grace with yourself. I feel like people will beat us up enough. You tell the right person, they gonna make you feel bad. Ain't no sense in you making yourself feel bad, you know? So maybe you've noticed patterns like these in your life, and maybe no one ever talked about where they came from. But these are inherited responses. They're passed down from generation to generation for survival. but they don't serve healing. They don't serve healing at all. One thing that I always think about is like slaves, like our ancestors, and the things that they were told to instill fear in them that was then passed down. And I be thinking about stuff I used to tell my kids when they was little, the older three. Like stuff that I was told that I later found out that just wasn't true. But it's funny because the kids will call it out. Like they'll be like, "Mama, you remember when you used to say if we turn the light on in the car while you drive and the police gonna pull you over and give you a ticket?" And I'm like, "Yeah, like I'm standing on there. Yes, like I was told that. Like that's not even true. Is that true? I don't believe that's true." Yeah, I ain't never looked it up, but the kids always like, "Why would you say that?" They probably saw the police turn the light on and just figured out on their own, knowing them. But anyway, I just said all that to say that, like, with a lot of the generational stuff that's rooted within us, a lot of that definitely came from the slaves and all the stuff they was told. But I don't want to talk about that. It's gonna make me mad. So the next thing and the next part of this generational trauma episode is the cost of silence, the cost of not dealing with the generational traumas, the sweeping under the rug, all the Legos under the rug, nobody cares. There's just standing on it and it's wobbly and you look like a fool. Handle your shit. All right. So there's often a culture of silence around trauma, especially in Black and brown families where survival was the goal. Many of our parents and grandparents didn't have the space or safety to talk about what hurt them, so they didn't. And that silence became normal. But silence does not heal. It don't heal, y'all. It's just the Legos under the rug. I'm going to talk about the Legos under the rug a lot, y'all. That's why I had to go back and make sure that y'all knew what I was talking about. But anyway, and what's hidden continues to repeat itself. So silence doesn't heal. What's hidden continues to repeat itself because you ain't talking about it, you ain't facing it. You're not getting to a solution on how to deal with it. So it's just going to keep festering. So let me tell y'all a little short story, right? So I remember asking a elderly person in the family about a family member's behavior. Like, why they act like that. And her response was, "We don't talk about that. Just pray about it." And while prayer is powerful, I will never take away from prayer. Like you won't hear me talk bad about prayer. I pray before I go come on air with y'all. Like, but no, seriously, prayer is powerful. But we also need truth. We need communication. We need accountability. Okay? Because healing begins when we tell the truth. All right, let's take a moment to affirm ourselves. Repeat these out loud or in your heart. I am the chain breaker in my family. I give myself permission to unlearn what no longer serves me. I speak the truth even when my voice shakes. I am worthy of healing, love, and peace. My healing creates healing for generations to come. Yeah, healing isn't easy, but it is sacred. It's messy. It's brave. and you are doing the work. Thank you for showing up today, for listening, for choosing healing, one truth at a time. If this episode spoke to you, share it with someone else on the journey. Don't forget to follow the Healing Version on your favorite podcast platform. Leave a review or DM me a story. I love to hear how generational trauma has shown up in your life and how you're learning to shift it. Until next time, be gentle with yourself. You're not just healing, you're transforming generations.